Be scared as fuck. And I'll see how long I last because my stomach has been so fucked all day. And I know scary shit is just gonna, like, it could get to me faster today. I'm nerfed a little bit. Um, yeah. Playing scary shit when you don't feel well. Not comforting for me personally, but probably is for other people. Oh, it was a head here. In my mouth. Okay. Hello. How was your day? Hmm. An exam. Oh, it's late for you? What did I just hear? Also, wild that I found the correct spot immediately.
Whoa! That's a kid? Can you believe it? She's so energetic.
Hmm.
It's crazy.
My posture's good. Oh, I can remove the arm. Thanks for the posture check, though. I just have to keep pushing it. Oh. Whoa. Shit. Those eyes? So a bunch of different, like, key parts are in this shit, I guess. You just slept? Nice. Good morning. Blood-covered ring. I need something to cut them. Yeah. Oh my god. Any big plans for today? Anything interesting going on? It is going okay. My stomach's kind of fucking with me. I'm gonna see how long I can play Resident Evil before I give up and play a little bit of Stardew. Numbers. Wonder if I can get that. Helpful. It's the same one. Why am I doing that? Okay. Able to, like, hit it with my knife? Oh, I don't have a knife anymore. I forgot. What's your plan for your day, though? Not fun. That sounds chill. Mm. Nice, nice. Oh my god. Where's Tack today? I don't know. Probably working. I think he usually joins Thursdays later. Huh. I'm sure he'll be in here at some point, though. Surely. There's something I can use to cut that. Oh. Well. Oh, nice. Summer's always nice. Getting a summer break. I think during college, though, I usually took like summer classes. I still had something going on with that, and then I would just work more. But summer's always nice. It's really freaking hot though this year. That's alright. Oh my god. This game just stresses me out for no reason too, though, because nothing is happening right now. I mean, how hot was it today for you? Honestly, today's weather wasn't too bad for me. But I know next week is supposed to get really hot. Like 100 degrees Fahrenheit hot. Hopefully, I don't know what humidity will be like. Huh. 42 degrees. Hold up, I'm gonna have to convert that. Can I not, like... Dang. That's pretty toasty. Pretty freaking warm. Oh. Where the heck? Ooh. That's exciting. Well, might be exciting. Go to your hometown. Ooh. So clearly I end up having to hide from someone, because what the heck? I don't know how long I can play this today with my stomach hurting. Holy shit. Eh? Nothing in there. Ooh, font. What? I mean, like, in a normal person way. I love my relatives that are kids. Why? What's up? boom, boom, boom. Oh, no. Okay. So I need something to cut that thingy. Maybe... Oh, like this part of the story was devastating? Something to cut them. Can I cut it with the key? Worth trying, I guess. What the heck? Are there numbers on... Are there numbers on this? No. Big child. Oh, fucking Jesus. Like, clearly I need the thing out of that arm, right? Can I not just take that limb with me? And I don't have anything at all, so I can't really, like... God damn, that keeps creeping me out. Okay, need that. Sounds good. Thanks for lurking. I'm trying to find something to cut something with right now. What the heck? No pictures or anything. Oh! Okay. Left eye. Oh, I can't just change which eye I'm looking at. And then... left eye and then the mouth. Hmm. In like pliers? Yeah, like it's gonna come to life. I felt like something was gonna come flying out of its mouth. A little mouth hole. No, okay. Need a tool to grab it. Clearly. One here. Or wait, which way was that doorway? Other way. Oops. It says I have to grab it with a tool. Three closed eyes. Then I must need to grab... What the heck? There has to be another tool, right? Or not another, but just a tool. Left eye. It's facing inward. Can I examine this leg? No. And I can't examine that arm. Like, it makes me open automatically. Like, it opens this menu automatically. So... I clearly need, like, pliers or something. And it doesn't let me just grab the thingy that's in the arm. I assume would go into there. That. The fuck? What the hell? I have no weapon. This looks like I would be able to open it, but I can't. Come on. Something to cut it with. No, I haven't found anything yet. I don't get what the fuck or what the heck I'm doing. Found a shoe? Or a few? What is that sound outside? Let me just make sure there's nothing like... Maybe it's fireworks. No, I don't see anything, so it must be. Is it woodland? Or wooden. Is that what you mean? It doesn't let me click anything with that, even though that seems like suspiciously like it would matter. Yeah, I don't know what that would be. I'm gonna start pretending like I did. Honestly, too many numbers in that for me to just guess, too. The clock does seem suspicious, but it doesn't let me do anything with it. Unless it's the time. No. Dang, I thought there would be something on there, kinda. Dude, like, what the... Just spamming buttons. And I can't turn the sink back on? Maybe... I might have to look up a hint if I can't figure it out soon, so I'm not... Because I feel like something's messed up. Oh, wait. Never mind. I thought that time looking at this shelf just felt more hopeful, but it wasn't. Back. I'm gonna look up something. Oh, shit. Thank you. 52911. Oh, 5. 2, 9, 11. I'm creeped out. Ew. I'm scared. You did save my ass. All the little, like, noises right now. Holy. Of course, I can't use a winding key. Doesn't fit. Alkaloids of mountainous plants. Not even a fake title on that one. Our happy family. 1. Rose's best friend in the whole wide world. 2. She really likes this fairy tale. 3. The most important thing in the world to us. 4. A wedding gift from Grandma. 5. Proof of Ethan's everlasting love for me. Oh. I pressed the wrong thing. Uh-oh. But no tool. Mm. This is so messed up.
Why is this here?
Oh, the wind-up thing? Is this a music box? Yeah. Oh, yeah, lining those up. And is that it? Nope. Oh, I did not mean to do that. I was trying to the other thing. My backrest being too straight. I need to fix my freaking chair. Fuck it. Oh, I almost hit restart. Without thinking. I almost went into autopilot. Right. This one goes there. Maybe. What is that hanging on the mic? Which thing? This thing? Or this dude? I guess that's kind of obvious, but I have a little panda flesh keychain on there. Yeah, here. Actually, let me... So I have my cords from my bachelor's degree from the Pride Club that I was in. I was advocating for, like, people with different sexual, like, attraction and genders and stuff like that. But it's this little dude. And its eyes move. Got that dude on there. And it's got some random stuff on the back of it, too. A Lego heart light thing I got in a hospital gift shop. And then, like, a little phone lanyard thing or keychain that I got at Wicked very recently. Oh. Here. Okay. It is. I like those keychains a lot. The Skull Panda ones. Memento of my time with Ethan, but this music box no longer plays. Okay, so it didn't work. I definitely... Oh, wait. What did I do and what did I grab? Tweezers, okay. Whoops. I got distracted by the plushie. Clearly I'm in a funk today. I can tell too energy-wise. I'm just like, bleh. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully I'm not freaking sick. If I'm sick, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, I gotta go get the picture out and then bring it back to that one thingy. Okay, so this way. Fuck. God damn it. Well, they got my ass, because holy fuck. Can I grab this with tweezers? Nope. Open your mouth. Oop. And the tweezers. Oh, cute.
Oh, God, no. I can't do anything.
I don't want to leave this open. That way when I'm panicked and running to hide, ready for me. Okay. So I need to take this back to that little display that had other camera, like, film roll shit hanging from it. I'm gonna save, because what if when I hang it, the bad person arrives? Scared. Wrong way. I just descended spiritually. I died. Scared. I'm not ready for this. Oh yeah, and then the thing said the order. Best friend, Rose's best friend. Fairy tale she likes. Okay. Fairy tale, and then the baby. Wait. Oh, fuck. And they make you just stand here. Do I have to go down a well? Oh, shit. Holy fuck. Got scissors. Hmm. Why would I pick up the phone?
Please, Ethan, listen to me. I didn't want to keep it from you.
Mia?
I didn't want to lose you again. I didn't want to destroy this family.
Mia, what are you talking about?
I love you both so much. I had to. I had to do it.
What the fuck? I didn't think it fit in the depression. It looks like a baby. God damn it. No. Brass medallion. Oh, hell no. Okay. Definitely panicked and ran for it. Okay. Now. Nah. I'm not hungry. I kind of have to, huh? We've got this. It's always a basement, correct? Literally always, for the creepiest shit. Like scratch marks on the walls. Oh, well, that's not creepy as fuck. Oh my god. Of the ring as well. It has been a long time since I've watched that, and I don't have a visual memory, so it's really tough for me to like think of what stuff looks like. What the heck? I haven't probably watched The Ring since I was like a kid. It's been a while. I really should do that. Maybe I'll wait until around like fall this year. Put that on my watch list. It is. Creepy little fuckers. Oh. This is horrible. Why am I doing this to myself? Yeah, the safe room is totally gone. What the f- Ew. Someone dropped their freaking meat. No. What the fuck? What happened? You ready for jump? You said good luck. Fuck you, cat. Mm-mm. I'm never having kids. Oh, hey, Big Brimstone. How are you doing? I'm not doing well. I'm actually kind of going through it right now. What the fuck? Okay, let me fix my chair first. Since I accidentally thunk my chair down whenever I went to lean my seat back. Pulled the wrong little like lever. Hold on, let me also turn my volume to this. Yeah, I'm gonna be locked in. And so I'm like, I gotta prepare myself. I roll my sleeves up and shit. Oh my god. I'm gonna die in real life doing this. I'll put it on 99 for the game volume so you guys can hear it pretty, like, disgustingly clearly, too. Holy fuck. This is not. This is the scariest the game has been so far to me, personally. For sure. Oh yeah, I'm gonna drink water too. Right. Fuck! Okay. This Resident Evil is best of all to you? Oh shit. That means this part's like scary as fuck. It gets even worse if you're saying that. Oh no. Or nor. Ow. Okay. I've got this. Then I'm gonna like put my head downward and kind of peek up. It takes the edge off. Run. This is probably the scariest moment in the game. Dude, my fucking head is like my dome right now. My shit is fucked up. Where was the closet in here? Isn't there a little hiding spot? Nope. Oh no. I'm about to get jump scared through here, huh? Oh, and they made it quieter too, these little fuckers. Well, good thing I never get scared. Just a game. What the hell? Okay. Right? That shit was creepy as shit in the dark, but I know it's about to get worse, so probably give me some light to make it even more jarring. Me going and reversing my direction, that's nice. Turning around. That box is cute. Oh. Fuck. I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna stand in here for a sec. Oh, what the fuck? Where's that fucker about to be? No. I feel like I just stopped moving. Bro is like literally breathing loud as fuck. It's actually kind of impressive. The loudest he's breathed the entire game, even when sprinting full speed. Like, bro has a nose. A working nose. I just decided that too, though, actually. Watch bro not have a nose. Oh my fucking god, I'm gonna pass away in real life right now. And Pride Month is wild. Ew. No. Little piece of shit. No, fuck you, bro. Dumbass baby. Creepy ass fucking baby. It's just a kid, Sadie. I fuck that kid. Creepy ass, fake ass kid. Oh my god, my blood pressure, bro. I'm gonna die. Well, it's clearly not that sad because it ran at me full fucking speed. If it was that, like, devastated, it would probably at least light jaw. It's not crawling. Not a baby. But just being all fucking annoying and creepy. I don't trust it. You know, it's all bloody in here. Oh, so do I need to make it come to me and then I need to run around the bed and go under the bed and then it'll be behind me pacing and then Dude, my head hurts. I was right about this making my stomach hurt more too. My stomach feels fucked up. Come here, you little fucker. Oh my god. Hold on. I needed to silently burp to myself really quick. Or I don't. Maybe I'm freaking cracked? Yeah, I'm scared as shit. I'm stressed. Oh my god. One of my legs is asleep. I'm probably right now developing hypertension. No way. Now I gotta save in. Oh, that little shit is gonna be this way, huh? Where am I going? I'm so scared there's not one coherent thought on how to finish this in my head. Yeah, getting to save is always nice, but oh my god. A shotgun is also pretty relaxing. In this case. Dumbass baby's meat. Oh, I'm about to get fucked up, huh? No! These little fuckers. Ugly ass fucking baby. Ew. Okay. Guess I got this. You ready? Ready for this shit? Come on, come on. Damn. Fucking elf. Why does it look like Malcolm or Kirby? That baby's about to be up here, huh? There's no shot it was that easy. Like, I know I'm a fucking gamer god, but like... Me that one time I tried to stream after taking an edible. All of them are creepy now? I just know some fucking artists that made some sick ass dolls too to like replicate these. I like that one. Ew. This show's so creepy, it's giving me fucking acid reflux. What's up, dude? Just kidding, I clearly have to go in there. Oh, fuck.
Don't leave. I can't let you.
You're
It's
still
like Elden Ring.
alive, huh? You better find me cool before my friends murder you. TikTok. Your life song alive.
Oh yeah, that doll was one of the
Try and find
one of the
me.
things it showed. Oh, this is a boss fight? What's up, dude? Reminded me of the what is it? Like the music video for the song The Thespian. Alisana. Wait. Am I remembering that band name right now? Maybe. It's a fucking raid, bro. Oh my god, I'm not fun to hear. Yeah, I gotta find the light ball. Fuck! Dude, I gotta admit. Okay. I like horror games, I like horror movies. Definitely prefer horror movies, I think because it depends where I'm at with like body shit, but having literal like being in treatment for my PTSD right now and playing shit like this when my like body is already like constantly fucking cortisol maxing is insane. Or not insane, that's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's ridiculous. Don't need to use any of that fucking ableist ass language in here. But oh my god. I'm dying. Oh god. Yeah, you in here, you little fuck. No. I literally am playing with fire. Like, what am I gonna do? Why am I doing this to myself? I guess the lore. Other people love these games, so I want to play them. But oh my god, my body hates it. Okay, I'm good. I'm not even scared. He's upstairs. I'll take the hint. Thank you so much. Where's stairs? This way? Okay. And what the fuck up? Honestly, that's how I like laughed off our friends. I'm like, fuck. We need to like uh-oh. Is that because it took me too long? Of course it fucking did me. Why would I even...
If Rose wasn't born.
Fucking monster.
Hmm. Where'd that little shit go? Okay. Picture's kind of funny, but... Come here.
You do this to Rose, too.
Where'd she go?
You're never going to get out of here.
Brain cubes.
Stupid idiot! What are you doing to my cute friends?
It's over.
Sucks to freaking suck. There's no shot though. Oh, maybe there
Yeah.
is.
We'll make things right.
That is an easy boss fight. But like,
What?
it's because a lot of the stress comes from
Good.
the
I need to get out of this
suspense
place.
this. Felt way more stressful than any of the other boss fights. The other being what? Have I done like one boss fight? Combined with the 4-wing key.
So that's who was behind all this?
Oh my god.
That makes two.
Another fetus. Ooh, an Angie. The dolls remind me of the Living Dead dolls. Like I had Living Dead dolls growing up, of at least. I remember, I think I still for sure have Beetlejuice and Lydia. And then I know I had Edward Scissorhands. And like I'm pretty sure I had Morticia and Gomez too. Adams, but the only ones that I have now are... Was there a save point in here? I can't remember. Those dolls are pretty cool. I know not too long ago too, they came out with a Living Dead doll of dude from Scream. It was pretty cool looking. I think I looked at it like Big Bad Toy Store or something like that. Living Dead dolls here. They're pretty neat. Back when I was growing up, when I got them, they like came in a little coffin box and stuff too. They were really cool. Living Dead dolls. Green. Or wait, here, let me look up like Beetle Juice. Yeah, this is the exact one that I have. Here, I'll copy, or yeah, there we go. Sorry, I'm not the fastest at doing this. And then I have something that made it so. Here, I'll open image, a new tab, and then I'll just do window capture. Or hit those. So there was the Beetlejuice one. Like I still have these two that I got growing up. But then let me see if I can find the recent one. Living Dead dolls. I can just actually look up them in general. Private window. And then this. It's the wrong thingy. Here. This is their website right now. If I go to like literal living dead dolls, maybe things used to play with them. No, I collected them. But also the doll that I had growing up of the Grinch was also kind of low-key equally scary. The store. Mm. Okay, well, I guess. They're very, like, creepy. Let me see if there's one. Like, let's see this. Like, they're very detailed. Cute little dolls. Yeah, can you tell I've always been low-key mentally ill? Okay. Well, I guess that's kind of how it works, but I mean, also, the Grinch doll. What could I put? 90s? No, it would have been early 2000s. Oh my god, it popped up right away. That's wild. Okay. And then this, I carried around and I did like puddle and shit. This is actually disturbing. Here. Ready? Trigger warning, the Grinch looking creepy as fuck. Like, what the fuck was I doing? But anywho, you're welcome for that. That little lore. That's what that made me think of. This part of the game, anyway. What the fuck? Like, have some shit like Annabelle at home? Yeah. I know, like, in college, too, I helped, barter down, like, a marionette doll that was really old and creepy. I still have pictures of. But of course, like, that doll and then, like, all of the older creepy dolls that I have pictures of that I took of, like, my mom's and stuff whenever their house burned down. Or, like, my family's house burned down. All that shit went bye-bye. But having the pictures still is cool. I'm glad I took, like, pictures with my... It was, like, a Canon back then. And they're not the best quality. But... Well, like, they were good pictures. But the, like, photo itself, the picture quality itself wasn't, like, at what there is now with DSLR cameras and shit. And, like, my current camera is way better than my old camera. Although I have that camera in my closet. Ooh, I should give that camera to my niece. That'd be kind of nice. Maybe I'll do that. Kind of like a... Maybe not, though. It might be a little too complicated, but I could, like, take her to take pictures. You know. And do some lessons. Take my camera. She could borrow that one. That'd be cute. You didn't like my Grinch? What the fuck? Kinda fucked up. Alright. I'm not insane, I'm quirky. And I have whimsy. There's a difference. Oh my god. Oh, I can heal now. Shit, I have my stuff. Why am I walking all creeped out? I should have this gun out. Oh, the doll. Or not. Hmm. But he did look like a neon yeti. Not as scary as disgusting Michael Jackson, though, in this game, so that's good. That shit still fucking cracks me up. That's going to, like, probably be the most memorable aspect of this whole game for me, which is wild. Back where I killed disgusting Michael Jackson. Eek. No, thank you. Reload. No. So much is occurring. Oh my god. Pack, there's a shotgun named after you. I guess it's a tactical shotgun, huh? Dumbass. I take it back. But I never said it. Michael Jackson did not rock. His music would have, you know, been easier to respect long term if he didn't fucking molest kids. So. No offense to it. Well, not gonna say that. But that joke in this game says right. Okay. Let's hurt. Sun and moon ball. Huh. Some money. Oh. The same building, right? Make sure there's nothing up there I need to shoot. Someone has to be doing fireworks. Motherfucker. Oh god. Good god. The ball. Verified mode go away? Huh. Hello. What's up, Jordan? I'm confused. I have to... Oh, I do have to, like... build it. What are you up to? Oh my fucking god. Almost through. Easy. Onyx skull. Pew, pew, pew. Okay. I finished the dollhouse. Well, you probably can tell where I'm at, actually. Oh my god. So creepy though, it like gave me actual acid reflux. Fucked me up. Holy shit. Holy shit ball fuck. Oh, cute. Congrats to your sister. That's exciting. He's talking about me being a verified pro gamer. Verified esports competitor. November 10th. Mistress Donna is now Mother Miranda's adopted daughter. In all my years, I've never been this overjoyed. Ever since childhood, she has always feared others due to the scar across her face. After her parents' death, she locked herself away and would only talk to Angie, the doll her father made her. I am forever thankful to Mother Miranda's infinite compassion. November 27th. Mistress Donna seems happy. It might be my imagination, but I feel like her doll Angie is even more lively than before. She came to me in the garden today and used Angie to talk with me. We had a mighty fine conversation. Something about receiving a gift of power from Mother. November 29th. Mistress Donna gave me yellow flowers and told me to plant them in the garden. I wanted them in front of Miss Claudia's grave. I don't know if it was the scent of the flowers, but I felt lightheaded. Then, like a dream, I saw my departed wife. I mentioned this to Donna, and she seemed thrilled by it. She told me to go to the house tomorrow and see her. She said I could see my family once more. I'm not sure what she meant by that, but she's so kind. Oop. So they're dead as fuck now, huh? Just an extra save. Just in case. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Photo of a strange bird. Oh, it's a bluebird. Gonna be a person. Oh, it's Dodd. I have the body on me. Neat. Alright. Anything over here? No. This way? Oh. Maybe not. Maybe I'm backtracking. Oh, I should probably examine that picture, huh? Picture, nope. So it's above the graveyard, above like a mausoleum. Motherfucker. Okay. Where the fuck am I? Why does it kind of look like me? Am I going back the wrong way? No, okay. Actually, I need to go to the grave again. I could put something on the grave before. Maybe if I take this doll back. I'm gonna do that first. This Madeline doll. And this way. This way. And then left. Oop. What about this? Every abusive language is like female. I don't know what you mean by that. Like motherfucker, why not fatherfucker? Well, yeah. Misogyny. I mean, it's over here by that thing. Oh wait, there's a photo of a bird as blue as the sky. Where was it taken? And then... Oh, okay, that's that little shrine with the goat. I just realized I don't think my tripod came in. Or my HDMI cord. Forgot about it until right now. Alright. Run this way. I guess I just come back here. I'm gonna go sell my shit, upgrade all my weapons and stuff. $3 of the Grathon, I'm so sorry. Dude, I bet. Like that shit. Oh my god. That's ass. Was it outside too? So it was like hot and shit. Fuck, I panicked. Ew. Damn, and you had to stand in that shit? That sucks. Damn. Did you at least wear like shoes that wouldn't suck? Or of course not, because I feel like whenever I have to stand for a super long time, I never remember to wear actually like supportive shoes too, so then it's even worse. But fuck. In an auditorium sucks, in an arena. Yeah, exactly. Never get lucky. You just happen to be wearing some comfy shoes. Oh my god. Me getting mad that I suck. You. Minus Jordan did have Jordan's own. Jordan squared. For the third if you count each shoe. Oh my god, this shit's stressing me the fuck out. Feels like I've been playing it for 8 hours. Not really, but stressed was looking. Okay. I'm sick. Like a good burgundy, or like an oxblood red. Like one of my favorites. Like a clay. You creepy ass motherfucker. Me with all my plushies behind me, walking up to this dude and being like, you're creepy as fuck for that. Kinda fucked up. Wish I imagined that creepy. Nice. Hopefully I didn't sweat through that shit too. Oh my god. I'm excited to not need to go to a bunch of graduations. What if he's the actual boss? Oh. If Jordan is not this dude. I was like, don't spoil too much. Oh my god. My hands. Ew. How long have I? Oh my god, it's only been an hour and a half. I feel like I played it for like over 2 hours. The dollhouse is actually so intense. Is that really the scariest part of the game? Because if it is, I know I've got this, but holy. Oh, okay, cool. Well then easy.
Does this look familiar to you?
Yeah, it does, you fucking weirdo.
I've gotten some new stock.
The kitchen. Explosive rounds, that's cool. Flashbangs. Oh, does that mean there's gonna be those one zombies? Feels like I should probably change the shotgun. Any further than you think through the story, though. Okay, cool. Shit. Ooh. That's exciting. They do seem paced very well. Although, I think it was 3? Whichever one I had to play as Carlos. Remember, I was like pissed the whole time I had to play as, oh, I can't remember if her name was Claire or what her name was, where I had to run slow as shit. Follow old shotgun. Ooh, okay. I will. They're comfy.
Finished?
Can I remove anything from it? Like that trigger? Nope. It's
Are
not.
you
Okay.
welcome?
I will sell it. Angie. Miss Madalena. Onyx Skull. But that's the new one. Selling that one. I should probably sell that too, huh?
Ah, Miss Angie. Just adorable. Porcelain dolls are very popular, you know. I'm skilled at all sorts of weapons modifications, and will do them for a small fee. These hands are more
let's see.
dexterous than one might think.
Power that one.
One moment, please.
I'm just gonna do that. Fuck it. Supplies.
Uh-huh.
Like those. For a handgun.
Aha!
Put that.
I saw you eyeing that one.
Dude, I got a good amount of shit.
This is all an investment, Ethan.
We
Young
had,
girl
I think.
used to be alive.
All these.
I'm buying this because of our relationship, you know.
Oh, so basically, dude said my shit's stocked. Wow. Oh.
Do
That
let me
was
know if
on
you
that.
find anything else of value.
Nope.
Well then, feel free to peruse.
If I can sell that grip. Mag. Probably just sell these two, huh? Necklace with 2
A
holes.
good deal, if I say so myself.
Oh, wait. Flashbang. And then, what else? Oh, I can't combine it with anything yet.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
so
I
then I
was
should
just
just sell
thinking
these
of ways
crystals.
to pass the time.
And I must have to use gems only. Valuable.
And buy it I will. Yes, I can see why you'd be interested in
Shotgun
that.
ammo and handgun ammo. I have a good amount of that already.
An interesting selection. Thank you for your purchase.
Okay.
Securing goods is more important. Till next we meet.
I have nothing else to add to it. And now I have the key to go through a different gateway. Stretch. Ow. Filter. Ugh. That was stressful as shit. Yeah, because it's got the fetus in it now. Oh, I need to equip my shotgun. These. Magnum ammo. Huh. Oh, fuck. I'm shooting. Reminds me of the big birds in Elden. Like giant crows. I don't have that gun. I do have ammo though, somehow, but not the gun. Uh-oh. I fucked up. Ew. Oh my god, it's like Friday the 13th game. Crystal boost. Not that bad. Ooh. Oh my god. Scrap. Wait. Did I miss any loot? Here. Nope. A fish. Oh shit. I'm back to where I've been already. I feel like I hear a goat or a lantern. Go there. Oh. Fuck. Easy. Hmm. It's sad. Go over that. Right? And can we distance a little? Is it really that serious? Swamp. Hmm. Ooh. Is that a grenade launcher? Yeah. Break action grenade launcher. GM79. Lockpick. And that's it for that building. That's just a fence, yeah. Oh. Well, that decided for me. Is your sister gonna celebrate, Jordan? Going out with your friends and stuff? You know, for my brother's graduation, we kind of just... Actually, I think they did go out together to celebrate too, but we also, like, had a family graduation party and stuff. Well, I hope she has fun if she does. This shit looks so messed up. It's covered in a slimy substance that I didn't have time to read yet. Oh, I wonder if I gotta blow that up with the grenade launcher. Oop. Yes. Okay. Good night. Hope you get some good sleep. Especially if it's morning already. Jesus. I can't think she does anything like that. Oh, okay. Piggies. Damn, both fucked up bed, dude. Thanks for hanging out and all, but oh my god. I just late. Not yet. Ow. I'm not Tim, I'm Sadie. I know you mean time difference, sorry. Couldn't help it, had to make a dad joke, had to do it. It doesn't work. Look at them frolic. Reservoir elevator. This is cool. What? If that's supposed to be insulting to Islam, I don't really fuck with it. So, just a heads up. Not really sure what you're trying to say, but if you're about to say some wild shit, you might want to save that one for after the night time. Okay. Yeah. I will definitely block a motherfucker for talking shit on his. No. Okay, good night. Well, good sleep. Good morning, sleep. Thanks for hanging out. I might have to take a break soon. Because, oh my god. Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna like stretch, go grab something to drink. I like feel my fucking. Hold on. I might do that really quick. Actually, I'm going to. I'm gonna go grab a drink really quick. I'll be right back. I'll use the shitty at shitty has be right back screen for now. I'll be right back. I'll throw music on once I get off the camera. Definitely need to stretch and like move my legs and stuff. I'm sore, but probably not more sore than Jordan right now. Missy. Ooh, I can do that song I was talking about with the dolls. And then I should be gone for like 2 minutes. I loved this song so much whenever it came out. I think I was like 14 or some shit. Alright. Holy shit, I hurried. I also peed, so I wouldn't have to get back up any, like, you know, in a second. Oh my god. Oh, hey, cat. And Dip. What's up, cat? Oh my god. Where are my earbuds? Oh, thanks for the resub. Yay. Hold on. I appreciate it. Oh, you have Mahjong soon? Fun. My... Ooh, I might be still blasting music. Dude, were you in here lurking during any of that gameplay? Or are you just getting here? Because that dollhouse thing I just played through was creepy as shit. Like, you just got here? Oh my god, dude. It was so creepy. There was a big ol' fetus creeping around. But I hope Mahjong's fun. Mm. Okay. Okay. Alright. Alright, bye. Thanks for stopping in though and saying hey. Good night. Oh my god. Yeah, make sure Spotify fully closed because my PC does struggle a bit. Oddly enough. Okay. In the time that I got up, I already forgot how I got here. Did I take this to get here? Must have. Does that mean I missed something back there? Yeah, I definitely just went backward, huh? Whoopsies. Oopsie poopsie. Maybe I did miss a goat. I'm not gonna kill you. Laboratory. I'm keeping all my stats at the, like, original amount if it means I gotta kill these dudes. I can't do it. Oh my god, look at him go. Okay. Jesus. Oh. Do I have to find a different ball, or do I still have the other one? Oh. I have to find one. To find something spherical. Meow, 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 meow. Oh, it was just the beat. All right. Back down we go. Into the abyss. I gotta like make it so I actually get notifications for Discord. Also, sorry, Jordan, I just saw that. Yeah. Normally I have it like just the entire app muted because I mean, I don't know. I left some Discords and stuff, but I feel bad leaving them once I join them, and then I have too many, and then it's just a lot. Harry Potter. You. Oop. We have a comb over.
Mother Miranda, if it's for you, I'd do anything.
Oh. My ear kind of hurts. I don't know why. Oh, toasty.
I'll just be taking this.
Wait, what are you doing with Mother's special child?
She's not hers.
Oh, you have something to say?
What do you mean, mother's special child?
Mother wants her baby back.
Don't screw with me!
Wait, please. If you take it, then the others will laugh at me. But if I do better than them...
What do I care?
Wait, just a little longer, please.
What's so funny?
You're stupid. You talk too much. It's all over. I plugged the way in.
What do you...
I have a grenade launcher.
It's my territory. And I won't let you leave.
Shit. Damn freak!
Wonder how much. Sometimes with like villains that are made to look like deformed, obviously, and stuff. I don't know. And then with calling them freak, like weird.
Damn, this way's no good.
Like I don't know if it's supposed to be utilizing people's I don't know, discomfort around disability or what it is. But who knows, because he also might have a freaking bazooka under the back of his jacket, so you never know, I guess. Right. Right. Force could break it. I'm gonna force things. Far less cool than a hidden bazooka. God damn it. Well, he's a whiny fish. Ah, so that's the fish. Makes sense with his mouth and stuff. I want it. Leave the boat key in the shack. Leave the boat key in the shack in the mine. Hans is dead, so no more fishing for a while. I mean, we all know his death was no accident. He was eaten by a giant fish, boat and all. Oop. Oh shit, Tack, are you off work? And then you said you were lurking before. Nice. I think I'm gonna leave something behind. No, there's no way I can. I have to come back here. Is it this? No, the boat key. And it's in the shed in the mines. Boat key in the shack in the mine. Okay. This way? How's work? Fuck. Well. Alright, that's good. There's no way that's... Oh, that's what I needed to do. I'm a freaking genius. Back in here, and then you just shoot that again. No way, I just wasted that. Shit. This way. And then... the hell? You big ol' fucker. Okay. It was that easy. Get me some loot. Whee. Bad timing. Oop, I missed. Um, oh, it's inside? It can get out? Embarrassing. Me missing every shot? Oh my god. That was honestly not the smoothest combat I've ever participated in this game, but got the job done, so that's okay. We'll come back from this. I didn't even need that much ammo anyway. Yeah, where's that fish fucker? Thought he was about to slide up and try to get me. Shotgun ammo. More shotgun ammo. And another thing of heals. Or meds. Goat in here, right? Could shoot a wooden goat. I heard something, but it could just be... Could be that lamp swinging. No. Back this way. Any loot over here? Nope. More lip balm. Hopefully that went on my mouth. Okay. I honestly didn't do that bad tonight. Good. Back the dollhouse shit was scary as fuck. I don't know if you saw me playing any of it, but what the hell? It just stressed me out so bad. Yeah, a little ugly ass fetus. Whoever that thing was made by, this one ugly ass motherfucker. I'm supposed to be running all the way back like this. No, I'm not. You go to that boat. Now I have the boat key. Dude, my head kind of fucking hurts too. There's just nonstop like me looking like upward, trying to like close my eyes and still somehow play the game through that whole ass house. Oh my god, where is it? Nice. Meow, 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 meow. Boat. Move over here for me. Whoa, this is weird to steer. Whoa.
What was that?
He's gonna get murdered by me soon.
What the hell? Research post or something? What
Umbrella
the fuck are
Corps?
they doing here? Get off of me!
Stay the fuck down!
Ethan! I gotta say, I'm surprised you made it this far.
The hell?
Be
Oh
ashamed
my
if something
god.
happened to you now.
Sure, Chris. Why not? You killed Mia. Now do me and finish the job.
Happy Pride.
Hey, Cap. I'm getting some serious motion readings out here. We should move on.
What kind of readings? What's moving?
Unknown, but my guess is we've been here too long and Miranda knows it.
Hey, did you say Miranda? How are you involved?
Leave it alone, Ethan. You are out of your depth. What about the sample analysis?
It's definitely related to the mold.
You stay out of our business, Ethan.
What business? Shit! Stay back!
The exit's underwater.
Little fish eyes on the back. It looks like a blobfish.
I don't have time for this.
He's kind of cute.
Miranda sent you to slow me down? You're pathetic.
Definitely needs to start putting a stance or what they're up to. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Okay. Put it on without
What's
that.
wrong with you?
Ew. Kind of like Brimley though too. Is he like are they all paled versions of what Rose, like they want Rose to be, or what? I can't remember. Or they're all like the lords of the different houses. I can't remember. I'm correct.
What am I
Failed but
supposed
not
to do?
failed experiments. Okay.
He said the exit's underwater.
No.
If I can drain
Bring
the
back Miranda stuff.
water.
Okay.
Shit, there's no power.
Reservoir gatehouse operations instructions. In an instance of heavy rain, there may be damage to the local aquatic life. It is advised that you drain all excess water using the following steps. 1. Move the windmills with a crank to start the electricity to the gatehouse. 2. Pull the lever in the gatehouse to open the Lewis gate? Luis? I don't know. Move the windmills. Okay. Starting with windmills. Pull the lever crank. Exactly. Oh. What's up, freak?
Oh, good. I was just thinking of ways to pass the
Smoking
time.
at Zaza
Pay me
with
no
the fish
mind.
man. Alright. We're gonna be done with this game. Look at the Duke's kitchen. Yeah, I saw that. I'm not killing the pigs. I don't care. I will stay shitty. If that's what it takes. Sorry. It came through in chat too late. I already committed to closing it. But go to cam only. And I need to decide if I want to play Stardew or maybe be done. Now I have some stuff I need to. Ooh. Oh, you know what? I could play. Or maybe I will do this, but I'm gonna be done. So, thanks for hanging out as you hung out. Because I could play Stardew by myself. No offense. Well, let me think. I could stay live and just play it on here. Thoughts? What do you think, Tack? I could be done. Maybe I'll be done. I know it's my stream, asshat. Fine, I'll be done. But I was more asking if you wanted to hang out. Watch Stardew. But fuck me, I guess. Good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Bye. I didn't actually make up my mind. I lied. I don't know if I started. I think I do. I forget that I can like take a second pause and like decide what I want to do. I don't need to like end stream because I can't decide. But I do have a busy day Saturday. I have plans tomorrow night. Shit. Maybe I should have let it end. Awkward. Bye again.